Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to The Hawk and My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, in all my videos or all my live feeds, simply take what resonates and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Happy Monday morning and welcome. Energy update for this week is I think we're coming into a bit of an interesting space. Last week I talked a little bit about new moon energy and supportive energy and do-overs. Good morning. Hello. Come on in. Come on in. We'll give everybody a minute or two before I start chit chatting about the energy update for this week, what I feel coming in for us here. Um, a bit of an interesting shift. Hello there, Kayla. Good morning. Hello. We'll give you all a minute to come in. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I don't know how we get to Monday so fast. Good morning. I'm a little bit short on time. I'll give you all a good heads up now. I am a little bit short on time. I have to be out the door in about 35, 40 minutes. So we're going to probably just stick mainly to the energy update this morning. I'm hoping this week I'll have some extra time to come on and hang out. But I do have to get on with my day really quick today. So here we are back on a Monday and a shift in the energy. Last week, like I said a few minutes ago, I talked about do-overs, supportive energy. Kind of taking that time to kind of lean into that energy of how we're moving through problems. It's never too late to kind of push through certain things. This week, very interesting. When I was doing some channeling, I actually brought myself back into that center space a couple times, just because I had those moments of oh, kind of taken back a little bit. Um, when it comes, I just want to back up a little bit because it does kind of trickle into what I talked about last week with do-overs. And I felt this week that collectively many of us are going to kind of lean into a little bit of a space. We're going to need a loving reminder, a loving push to know it's okay to try again. It's okay to start over. But I felt like this self-judgment coming in this week, and a bit of some self-finger pointing. Well, you didn't do that well enough, and the energy is very much supporting us through these new things. But I also felt this justice come in. So this justice energy of what's not right in our physical world, not what's not right in our own personal world. And spirit came in full force and just held that space with, yes, we are going to be have a heightened awareness of what is yet to be done, like the things that we still have to do. But there's also this balance of very gently balancing ourselves into this space of you can try again. There's still lots of time. There's going to be you may feel a little bit of that off balance this week, but it's going to have a justice feel. And it's also going to kind of be careful with relationships and friendships with this energy, because we need to be aware of other people as well. They're doing their best with their own do-overs. And sometimes we're going to have that push into perhaps being a little bit critical of people that we're close to in our life with, you're not doing that right, so I just have spirit was very lovingly holding up that energy with support, with having that support. So I'm just curious if over the weekend you felt a little bit of that, felt a little, because I just felt it kind of coming in. I felt that coming in, Kayla. That sounds like unique energy this week, very specific. It was very specific, and I in it, when spirit gives me this information, it's like this heads up to help us navigate through it. So I'm just curious if you have been leaning into that justice space. And sometimes it doesn't have to be, oh, it's Monday, it's starting today. Sometimes you may have felt that coming in perhaps over the weekend with this what's not right, and being and just kind of getting our defenses up. There it is. Getting our defenses up before things kind of unravel a little bit. And perhaps it may be that justice energy that you're feeling towards certain things that are going on in the world, or certain things that are going on in your personal life. I feel that kind of bubbling, and it's almost like, here it is. It's almost like that there's going to be a bit of a short fuse in within us this week. I'm short fused. I've had it. I've had enough of that. And one thing that kind of pausing and kind of leaning in there with that supportive energy that's still around. It's we're always being supported by spirit and by our spirit guides, and just kind of leaning in there. I felt I had to push into that. Kayla, defensive listening to women talk about their experiences. A lot of yeses. A lot of you are understanding what I'm talking about here. I will scroll back up and try and catch a few messages up further up, but I just want to kind of, because I'm limited on time today, I just want to kind of make sure I'm finished explaining the energy. So when we kind of feel so, one thing with our feelings is we do need to kind of acknowledge them. I know it's very important. I'm a big one on acknowledging how you're feeling, but kind of giving ourselves a chance or an opportunity to sit back and observe rather than have that instant reaction. And sometimes, and I'm one of them, sometimes we can react without coming back into that space of, I just want to make sure that I'm looking at this from all angles. And I think that this week it's going to kind of, lead us into a little bit of that, of being able to just pause. So I also felt that energetically, and I think it'll be more like midweek, Wednesday, Thursday-ish. I felt like maintaining that justice energy, maintaining that rigidness, or that gavel is kind of how I literally seen the gavel, was that justice it's going to have a bit of an exhausting effect on our energy. If you haven't been maintaining your your spiritual practices and keeping that energy kind of topped up within you, there's going to be this exhaustion phase later in the week, as well as some headaches. I really felt the physical body responding this week to a lot of that energy. There's going to be a heightened physical body awareness with it. So some things that you can do, and I know I probably shared this before, but some things that you can do is just taking that time to pause and reground yourself, or pause and have a good look. Journaling will be really good this week before we have those some of those reactions. It felt like a reactive week. And and we can navigate through it. We can use our spiritual practices, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of nap time, if you will. I just have to kind of remind you of all that. And we'll see how this all plays out later in the week on how you're feeling, but just kind of remember, sometimes we process things before we actually have a chance to process it. So just taking that time this week, I keep hearing that over and over. Take a moment to look at the whole picture. Take a moment, and sometimes all you can do is get back into your own lane, and just kind of that person's learning that lesson, or perhaps it's you. Perhaps sometimes it's us. Sometimes we're having that moment, where we just need to kind of chill out and just let things kind of unravel and get the whole picture. So what because how I seen it was like little like glimpses without the whole story, without this whole understanding. And sometimes being able to just ask ourselves, well, how does spirit see that? How does spirit see that? The reactive, like, with what's going on, right? So that's one thing that I try really hard to remind myself is, how would spirit look at it? Right? What would source energy? Whatever word that you resonate with, what would the angels and guides say? I kind of go back to that space, as best that I can, and I try to remember it as early as I can, especially when we're coming into a bit of a reactive energy. Now, some of the reactive energy that I felt coming in as well, I just want to touch base on this, is, how many of you have felt that this summer has gone really, really fast? Like, it seems like it's gone faster than most summers. And I felt that pickup of energy, coming in right around May for me. I felt like, it's like bang, time, time, time. Time is it just felt like this time thing. PJ, yeah, fast summer. One thing that we're gonna kind of lean into is this whole space a little bit as we're gearing into the end of August, is, what have I done? That also came up in my meditation and my chit chat with spirit this morning, is, what have I done to enjoy the summer? And there's always that time, there's always that turning point, there's always a space of rethinking. You were doing the best to juggle and manage so many things. We're all juggling and managing so many things. And there's always still time to pause and to kind of absorb. And if you can't get away for a couple days, you can still get away for a couple moments. And using your imagination to kind of get you there. I'm just gonna go, and this is what I did yesterday. I'm just gonna go and sit by the beach, even though I wasn't at the beach. I'm just gonna kind of sit there and just kind of breathe and take some time, because we're feeling this time crunch, and I'm not quite sure yet, and perhaps I will. I never question spirit. Perhaps we'll understand that a little bit in the upcoming weeks or months, is this whole timelines thing. I just feel this pressure collectively with time. So there's something going on collectively with time, with that we're all kind of collectively feeling. So it just kind of Sit with it. Sit with it, sit with it, and giving yourself that, those moments. May not always be, a week or 2 away, or it may not always be, a whole day on just chillaxing, but using your imagination to kind of bring yourself back to that center. So I guess, kind of what I'm saying is this week is gonna feel a little bit, not so grounded. There it is. We're not gonna feel quite so grounded as we were in the last couple weeks, and it's just go into that supportive space, that simple, that, taking away some of the complicated layers if you can, leaning into what I talked about last week with, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to try and word that again. I'm going to try and say that differently again. Or if somebody else is coming from that space, lovingly remind them. I had to lovingly remind someone the other day to, can you just think about those words for a moment on the impact that they might have, and see if you can get to saying the same thing with just a bit of a different feeling to it. And they were a little bit taken back. They're like, "Oh, I didn't mean it to come at you." And I said, "I know you didn't. I truly know that you didn't, but just taking that moment to kind of do it again. Just do it again." Um, I hope that resonated with you. Spiritual practices are going to be important if you're one that struggles with some of this energy. So make sure that you are up to par with your spiritual practices and whatever your spiritual practices are. And sometimes we have to change them. That's the other thing too. Sometimes it just might not be resonating with us, or we might need to add something, or we might need to do something different. So I hope that helps. I'm going to take a scroll up, and I just want to check on the comments here. When I'm channeling and when I'm speaking, I tend to forget that there's a comment section here, even though I know it's there. So a lot of people resonating with this already this morning. Sonia, I'm currently at the grocery store, but I couldn't miss the live session. Yeah, that's great. If anybody needs their groceries picked up, Sonia's out and about. See where we need to go here. I've sat in parking lots to listen to. Oh, bless your hearts. Bless your hearts. See where we need to go, and then I'll pull up a couple messages here. Kayla, this sounds like unique energy this week, very specific. Yeah. Um, Kayla, defensive list. Okay, I read that one. Sorry, Kayla. Peyton, I've noticed that it's been a time of reflecting on choices made during the summer and choosing which way to move forward and what to leave behind. Yeah, I would agree with that, Peyton. There's been a lot of people experiencing that. So it was very nicely worded. Onisa's here. Spent some time with family, and it definitely felt that way. Yeah, that's how the whole time space thing, right? Haley, I can definitely feel that I'm done with it. Energy coming from my. Oh yes, the done with it. I'm done with it. Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes, what really helps sometimes is to, like when we feel that done space, what really kind of helps us, because moving forward can be tough, right? Especially if it's something that it's been very familiar for quite some time, whether it be a relationship or a space or whatever it is. That whole, okay, now I'm ready, and sometimes just kind of bringing that forward with that. Okay, sometimes I wasn't ready before, and we can be hard on ourselves for not being ready before. Soften, just make sure that you're staying softened with that. Okay. um PJ, good new kitty is here, and you hit the nail on the head. Very good. I'm glad that that's all working out perfect. Um, Diane, I'm not listening to the news. Will help with that. Social media too. I'm very careful of what I put my awareness into. Very careful, and especially in moments where I'm feeling sensitive or vulnerable, which is most times I feel sensitive and so aware. So I'm very careful. I there are amazing ways of using social media. There are some beautiful, beautiful, people out there that are out there collectively helping other people. So I just kind of lean into what I'm putting my awareness, what I'm listening to, is really important. So absolutely, Diane, it does help clear things up energetically, because everything that we put our awareness or that draws our attention does take something from us too, right? So we can have things that are sucking the life out of us, whether it be news outlets or media outlets, and we truly don't even know what's true and what's not true. And so it does help energetically. I'm very careful what I put my energy into. And I'm also very big on protecting myself energetically. If I am going to be somewhere, I'll bubble myself, surrounding myself with white light. I'll often smudge myself, or I'll also just make sure that I'm plugged in the source. So I will plug into, I usually visualize like an outlet, a plug outlet, and I'll just remind I'm going to plug in the source energy while I navigate some of this physical world stuff, because the physical world is very loud. It's really loud here. So, just kind of try that. But, that might be a good tool to try this week when we're going through some of this energy is get up in the morning. You literally take a light socket and visualize yourself plugging into to source energy. Give that a go. It's always great to kind of take that space. Um, Salome, it's a very important week for me, and definitely feel the reactiveness could be very present indeed. Yeah, it's going to be reactive. It's uh, I think with the heads up, and when we kind of give ourselves a moment to kind of consciously think, how am I going to deal with something this week if it comes up reactive? If I feel reactive, or if somebody else is reactive, how am I going to navigate through a little bit of that? Sometimes it's just that great reminder to just say, okay, there could be a reactive moment this week. What can I do to prepare for that? Um, a lot of comments about time going so fast. Agreed. In general, time has been going really fast. Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, Diane, I've done nothing that I wanted to do this summer. Um, sometimes we our plans do get changed, altered, things come up, we don't get the time off that we expected. Um, y- when that happens with me, Diane, I always shift into what can I do in the moment? What can I do with the time that I have? Or I will daydream about it. I will literally daydream about places that I want to go, and I kind of put that into my manifesting bowl or my calendar for upcoming times. Whether it be next summer or next week or next month. I just kind of let myself daydream more about kind of manifesting that time and space for me. Kayla, this energy reading is spot on. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Let me see where we're going. Jenna, I'm moving soon and it's really a big change. So my summer has been preparing for leaving my friends and stuff. So it's definitely felt fast. Diane loves daydreaming. Sometimes when we're going through big changes, the time seems to be accelerated. And I think sometimes there, Jenna, is when we're going through big changes, remember, here's one thing that really helps me is remember we're all energy based. So we can stay connected to places and people, just through energy. So one thing that I just kind of want to kind of like add that to just soften a little bit is that you are preparing to leave, but you're going to remain connected to that time, that space. You're going to remain, and even with the daydreaming, you can daydream. I do this when I was first practicing astral travel, but I would daydream about seeing somebody in another space. So I would kind of lean into that a little bit, Jenna, especially if you start to feel like you're missing people or places. Just kind of daydream about that space because we're all energy based, and that's one way that I really learned to when I was learning astral was to just get into that daydream space, visualizing myself there or hanging out or the memories of that. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple questions before I have to go. I do have to be time sensitive today, so I will scroll back up and try and catch some of your questions here. Okay. Um. Sorry, I'm just looking for some questions here. Found self love to leave a narcissistic mother. I think it's really important that we always find that deep space within us with that self love. And one thing that I just want to kind of lean in there a little bit with you is when we all sign soul contracts, if you will, to learn certain experiences from certain people. And I think that sometimes we just have to kind of lean in there with their having their own experience too. And I just kind of have to just kind of, if you struggle with that, just kind of remind yourself that they're having their experience too, that they're learning certain things too, and just kind of lean in there. Source sees all things in a love and a light, even when it's hard. They're learning their stuff too, and you're learning self-care, and I applaud you for that. That's absolutely wonderful. Okay. Just over some questions here. I almost got in a fight with a family member this weekend. Thankfully, I did not react to everything that went my way after the situation cleared by itself. I love that. Good for you. So yeah, that's leaning into, what I said about this reactive energy. Well done. Well done coming into that. Quite a few somebody else agrees with the news. Um Cynthia, I felt this way for a while. Is there any messages for me on anything I'm going through? I'm exhausted. I always put everybody first. Cynthia, I think one thing with that is literally what will help is scheduling those moments just for you. Sometimes putting ourselves first is new, or we've been feel guilty about going first, or we feel guilty about looking after ourselves. But I really feel loud and clear you're hearing that call to put yourself first. It's not selfish to put yourself first. And I think sometimes we may lean into that, everybody else has to go first. But one thing with when we're not listening is we do get that sense. The first thing that kind of spikes into our awareness is our physical body. We feel tired, we feel exhausted. And we also start to feel a few things like resentment, and we feel a few things. And one thing that helps is when we honor ourselves. When we honor ourselves, we're teaching other people how we want to be treated. And sometimes, if we don't, we hold on to that and we hold on to that. Have you ever noticed that resentment towards other people kind of starts to bubble up? You start to become, short fused or want to spend less time with them because we hold on to it. But when we demonstrate, Cynthia, that we need to go first too, that we have feelings or we need time. When we demonstrate that, when we put it in our calendar or make an announcement, not available, checking out. I am checking out. We kind of bring people back to that space. Oh yeah, they need time too. Oh yeah, we've got to give that person some TLC or their own private time or whatever it is that self care means for you. Self care can be with a group of people or alone with yourself. So I think when we acknowledge that I need some space too, I need some time too, I need to do something for myself, we kind of demonstrate, or we lead with that kind of energy that I'm having a hard time here, right? Sometimes I think that we often expect other people to just have that awareness all the time of what we need, and sometimes they truly don't. And it's not always personal. It can be just they just didn't realize that you've always shown up and done everything, right? And I've had that come up in my own life a few times where, well, you've always done that, Lana. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm tired of doing that. And sometimes it's okay. We feel like this deep down need to do everything for all people all the time. And sometimes, it's more on us than it even is on them. We've just demonstrated that. That was the vibration that we led from. Does that make sense? I thought that makes sense. Um, let's see when we need to go. PJ, I'm just pulled for a second. Um, I know you haven't asked a question, but I can't scroll past your name here for a moment. PJ, have you recently tried something new, and that has gone well, but hasn't kind of like given you the result that you were expecting? I feel the need to ask you that because I'm really feel that there's whatever it is that you're working on and whatever that the outcome, I feel like there's going to be like this unexpected pleasant surprise of something working out very 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 good for you but in a very different way that hasn't quite unraveled itself yet. I'll let you comment on that, but I just couldn't scroll past your name. um yeah, I just couldn't scroll past your name without kind of leaving that there for you. It feels very exciting. It feels very good. Dee Dee, my birthday on Wednesday. I have a lot of catching up to do. Time to be my true self, not what my mother wanted me to be. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday in case we don't catch you on Wednesday. Happy early birthday. Enjoy celebrating yourself. I think it's really good to celebrate yourself and discover that true self. And I think one thing that we do have to kind of lean into is our true self, and different versions of ourselves are changing as well, right? They're changing. And one thing that I'll often ask myself with whether it be friends, acquaintances, coworkers or family, I'll kind of lean into, were they doing the best with what they knew, with where they were standing? So I just kind of lean into there too. Celebrate yourself and enjoy a new version of you. Enjoy this new space that you're coming into. Diane, I need to practice this. Yeah, we're always practicing, Diane. Me too. Um, Peyton, I've been looking at all the wind going on lately. Definitely don't feel as grounded as usual. I think this week, Peyton, like I said, it's going to feel even a little more uneven as far as the grounding goes. Priscilla, I always love your messages so much. Of it resonates with me. I'm wondering if you give me advice on what direction to take with my career. Priscilla, have you been feeling this shift in your career for a while? Because I really feel with this career piece, I feel like I can kind of feel my like a rumbling going on. I can feel like it like been like deep down in my core. I can feel like there's been this rumbling, and it's almost like you've quieted a little bit for a while, and it's like it starts to rumble up again. I think I need to shift and make a different direction. However, I feel it very parallel, so very similar to but I do feel like there's some a lot of good in where you're at with your career, and I feel we're kind of going into like a parallel shift, if that makes sense. But I feel like that grumbling is getting louder. It's like now it's time to make that shift. But I also feel, and I don't know if it's like an accredited course or workshop, but I feel like there's just a piece of knowledge coming to you. So I don't know if you've been contemplating schooling, or and it may just be like a 3-day workshop kind of thing. But I just feel like there's this piece of added information, if you will, this piece of new opportunity that's kind of coming forward, but it feels parallel. I don't feel it as being completely different, if that makes sense to you there. Um, Sonia, I've been shopping for snacks too, Wesley. You guys are all out grocery shopping. That's something that I have to do. I didn't get it done this weekend. I've got to get some groceries done too. So if anybody's in the Kitchener, Ontario area and wants my grocery list, I'd be grateful. um, PJ, wishing has made it much more real, and I feel pulled east. No, very nice. I'm not sure where east would be for you, PJ, but I love that. That feels really good too. And I think sometimes we when we feel that pull, I just want to kind of tap into that pull for a moment. When we feel that pull, that's our higher self. That's our inner being. That's our intuition, whatever word you want to put on there, kind of calling us, right? Kind of there's something to learn here. There's something to experience here. There's something to explore here. We'll do a few more. Get those thumbs up going there, you guys. I appreciate your thumbs up when I'm on here. All your advice has helped me navigate this stage, but the abuse continues even with boundaries in place. It's time for me to break free. I'm going to be 60. Didi, I want you to know that first of all, you are so loved and so supported in these changes that you're making. And I think, Didi, that I want you to kind of lean into that a little bit. You are loved and you are supported, even if it's by complete strangers from across the world. We're cheering for you. And change is very difficult, and breaking a cycle is very difficult. And I feel now more ready than you've ever been to, and I feel it more in just one area of your life, though, by the way. So when I'm speaking, it's kind of like a bigger picture. I feel like there's other things, Didi, that you're ready for change as well. I feel like there's just this, it's like I'm ready for this. I also feel that this comes back down, Dee. I get pushed into last week's live with it's okay for do-overs. It's okay for turning points. It's okay to start again. It's okay. I feel like I have to just kind of lift up that number 60, and just kind of like let the dial go back. There's a new version of yourself. But it's just the date that you arrived here. There's lots of time. There's lots of time, and there's lots of time. And you can try, and you can try again. And I just feel that, I feel very excited, but I feel you beyond ready. But I also feel like I have to touch base on the divine timing is always is right here for you. It's right here for you. Um, all the way from Turkey. We got cheerleading all the way from Turkey. All right, Kayla. Does spirit have any messages for me? Thank you. Kayla, I really feel like I need to lean in here, Kayla, with I need to take, even if it's like 5 minutes this week. I would like you what your spirit guides are showing me is I would like you to sit with, well, it's not me, it's them. I would like you to sit with the beautiful vibration that you are. And I also really feel that what they're showing me is that inner child within you. I need to let that inner child be very, very playful for 5 minutes, for an hour, all week if you wish. But I just feel like there's this version of you, this younger version of you, that inner child piece of you that's kind of like, not, I can hear that knocking. I can just hear that knocking of play, play, play. And I feel like they're showing me that you really, really need to kind of lean into there. All right, you guys, I am already a few minutes behind. I will do my best to get back on for another energy update Wednesday, um, hopefully, and Friday we'll have another update. Hopefully. This week, I'll be honest, is a little bit chaotic, so I may try and pop on a few minutes early, um, just to kind of give us some time to have a chit chat because I find it difficult to sign off here when I'm out on chit chat. And I hope you enjoyed your time with me this morning. Spirit is walking beside you. Lean into their advice. Ask, keep asking them. Love, light, blessings. And as always, a spirit guided day. Much love.